Week 17 predictions. You might have already seen that I posted this video, but that was actually recorded in April, I believe, when I was in Texas. So that was a long time ago. That was a pre-recorded video. These are my actual Week 17 predictions, and Greg's and Zach's as well. So I went 12-4 last week, so I had a pretty good week, I'd say. I'm back in contention now with an overall record of 150-88. I can't be too mad at that. Okay, Greg went 10-6, so he's not too far behind, 7 games behind. So with Week 18 plus counting the wild card divisional championship and Super Bowl, Greg still has a chance to win. Although this week I will say that it wasn't like some of these weeks, like it's exciting. All of us are picking different teams, but this week is kind of a boring week because, like, you'll see what I mean. Zach went 7-9, kind of like what I just said about the weeks. Like last week was a good week because it had a lot of upsets. It had a lot of luck. I just got lucky. I predicted them correctly, but Zach, who's usually so consistent, like went 7-9. I think this is his worst week of the year, and it couldn't have come at a better time because I'm back in contention now. I'm 1 game behind. All right, so the games that you can probably guess are gimme games. This one, not as much as the other 2 Christmas games because it's a division matchup. The Cowboys aren't the greatest. The Commanders actually didn't look too bad last week. So, could the Commanders win? I think they could. I think this could be an interesting game. Still, I'm going to take the safe bet and take the Cowboys. Zach is going to do the same by a whole lot. And then Greg will be too. The Christmas games are kind of boring. Although out of the 3, I think this is the most interesting matchup because I can definitely see the Commanders winning. The second most interesting matchup, I guess technically they're in order here, is Lions-Vikings. And the only reason why I think it's a better matchup is because I guess all 3 are division games, but I think the Broncos are objectively a worse team than, or what did I say, the Broncos? I meant the Lions are objectively a worse team than the Broncos. So therefore, Max Brosmer is probably the worst quarterback in the league. But I think that at least Max Brosmer is like their backup quarterback and not their third string like the Chiefs. Anyway, yeah, not going to take long on this game. The Lions should dominate. Zach agrees. That was actually a pretty close score. Greg has it close too. I think it will be an absolutely terrible blowout. Speaking of terrible blowouts, another Christmas game. What a fun Christmas. Yeah, if I were you, I would just watch the Christmas parade on NBC or something. Don't bother watching don't bother watching football on Christmas. It's not worth it. So yeah, Zach 34-17, 28-10. I really wish that they could have flexed these games. I mean, this week there's only like 4 good games anyway, maybe 5. This is not a good week for games. Okay, well, speaking of one of them, Chargers Texans is an interesting game. Texans can basically knock the Colts out of the playoffs if they win this. If they lose, then the Colts, it's going to come down to week 18. So, yeah, this is basically not a must win for the Texans, but if they want to secure a playoff spot, then this is the game they got to do it in. I don't think they're going to do it this game. They're away. Their offense didn't look as good as I thought it would against the Raiders, and the Raiders have one of the worst defenses in the league. And the Chargers look pretty good, so I feel like this is a pretty easy bet, which is why it's surprising to me that Greg and Zach both took the Texans. Like, as you can see, Zach took the Texans 28-21, and Greg took the Texans 26-24. If the Texans were at home, then fine. But the Chargers are at home. I feel like the Chargers should 100% win this game. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, the Texans defense, yes, is very good, but still the Texans offense did not look how I wanted it to look against the Raiders. Speaking of the Raiders, this is a pretty bad game, obviously, 2-13 teams, but the Raiders actually looked good last week against the Texans, which is why I'll pick them against the Giants. If they looked like ass like everybody expected them to, this would be a more of a tough pick. But they're at home. Um, Ashton Genty is the real reason here. Ashton Genty should probably single-handedly win them this game. Zach agrees, and then Greg will agree as well. Why I said it's also a boring week because we picked a lot of the same teams. All three of us mostly picked the same teams. But also, it's getting down to the wire now, so we can't, predict 10 upsets a week anymore because we don't, there's only so many games left. We got to be smart about this. Ravens, Packers. I'll take the Packers by 10. I feel like that's pretty fair. The Ravens have not been good this year. I think Lamar's injured again. I think it's time to just reset and think about next year. Packers, though, still very alive for the playoffs. I mean, technically the Ravens are too, but even if you make the playoffs, like I don't think the Ravens are going anywhere. Packers should win this game. They're at home. It's going to be cold. Even if it's not a high scoring game, they should still win. Zach agrees. This is a pretty good upset by Greg taking the Ravens. So something more interesting. This has potential to be a good game depending on what Ravens team wants to show up. And I guess depending on how the Packers play too. I think Jordan Love might actually be injured. Did Jordan Love get injured? I actually cannot remember. But even if, oh yeah, he did get injured. Okay, so Malik Willis versus Tyler Huntley. Oh my god, this is such a shit week. What is going on? It's like the week of the backup quarterbacks. Anyway, even with Malik Willis playing, I think the Packers. Malik Willis has actually looked really good too, which is just the Packers are super good at developing quarterbacks. Uh, Cardinals, Bengals. Yeah, I took the Bengals by 7. Took the Cardinals last week against the Falcons. That was a bad pick on my part, but that's what I get for picking the Cardinals. Should be a pretty easy win for the Bengals. They just blew out the Dolphins. Um, at home, business as usual. Also, Jacoby Brissett, I started in fantasy. I regret doing that. He's been such a consistent quarterback, though. He's put up like 20 fantasy points a game. Even against the Texans defense, he still had like 19 points. So I don't know what happened in the Falcons game, but anyway, we're all going to take the Bengals here, no surprise. Seahawks Panthers is a good game, seeding wise. A good game, or I mean, a good matchup for the Panthers? No. I mean, we said the same thing about the Rams, but I don't even think it's just. I think that the Panthers matched up well with the Rams, and they were at home in that game, which just made it better. Both these teams play outside. Both of them, uh, I don't know. And the Panthers are this weird, inconsistent team. It's hard for them to win 2 in a row. And I think the Seahawks defense, Rams defense is good, but I think Seattle's defense is better. And I don't know. I just see them getting to Bryce Young all game and it being a bad game for Carolina. But if Carolina wins this game, they control their own destiny. So I'm pretty sure if Carolina wins and Tampa Bay loses, then that's it. Both teams wins, I think it comes down to week 18. And then if both teams lose, it comes down to week 18. Even if Carolina wins and Tampa Bay, or I mean, even if Carolina loses and Tampa Bay wins, then it will still come down to week 18. So the only scenario the Panthers can clinch a playoff spot is if they win and the Bucks lose. But anyway, I don't see that happening. Like the Seahawks are just too dominant right now. that's meant to say Zach, but Zach has it 38-21, and then Greg will also take Seattle. I don't know, because I could see how you would argue like, oh, but you took the Rams to beat the Panthers. But I don't know, it just feels like such the Rams and Seahawks are just they're just very different. The Rams offense is like number 1 in the league. Seattle's defense, I don't know. I'm just thinking matchup wise. I don't know what in my brain compelled me to do that, but I still think this, like, if the Rams have to play the Panthers in the playoffs, I think the Panthers are going to beat them again. I don't know why I think that, because the Rams are probably one of like the best team in the league. But I don't know why they just match up so well against the Rams in my mind. Jags Colts, another game we don't have to dwell too long on. Jaguars should dominate them. Yeah, not a very good choice by the Colts to sign Phillip Rivers. He hasn't been terrible, but at the same time, you should have just gotten a younger QB. Like, you could have gotten, I don't know, you could have traded for somebody. But I know they're kind of cooked because they just spent so much draft capital on Sauce Gardner. That was really the Colts' downfall, was their bye week where they signed Sauce Gardner and did all those big acquisitions, and then that did not pay out for them. Zach will take the Jaguars by 10, and then Greg's going to shock everybody and take the Colts. Yeah, that's definitely a decision. I mean, they're at home, but unfortunately, I think the Colts are they're cooked. They're done. But we will not forget the first 9 weeks that the Colts had and how amazing they were. And they were the number 1 seed in the NFL. And don't worry, we won't forget. But yeah, well, that's a fall off of the century right there. Patriots, Jets, like I said, matchups this week are not very good. Patriots all day, no reason to even dwell on it. This one's a good matchup. Steelers, Browns. I'm actually going to take the Browns. I feel like it's just even right now, because I was going to say the Steelers offense without DK Metcalf, that's going to be a problem. But also the Browns don't have Judkins either because he got injured. So more of an even playing field here right now. The only thing that scares me is with Judkins out, the Steelers' defense is now miles better than the the Steelers' run game is miles better than the Browns' run game. But Shador's actually looked really good. The Browns are at home. I'm going to trust them to get the job done. And the Steelers have 9 wins, so we have to remember that they'll probably finish 9-8. It's history. It what happens every year. Zach is going to take the Steelers, and then Greg will also take the Steelers. I can see the Steelers. I think if Judkins didn't get injured, then this is an easy Browns pick. But with both DK out and Judkins out, it's more of an even playing field, and I can see how the Steelers would still have an advantage. Saints Titans could be interesting. The Saints have just looked really good. And I picked the Titans to beat the Chiefs last week. Thank you, Titans. But I think the Titans want a higher draft pick, so they're just going to probably lose out now. Thank you for beating the Chiefs. I think the Titans probably wanted to lose that game for a good draft pick, but then realized, like, wait a minute, we have a chance to beat the Chiefs. We got to do it. And then they did. But now I think it's time to tank. And the Saints are kind of already past that because they already have 5 wins. Zach's going to take the Saints, and so will Greg. Saints have actually looked really good. Bucks, Dolphins, 2 teams who have not looked very good. Dolphins benched Tua. I still think that was probably a mistake. Their offense just got hit by a semi-truck in the second half by the Bengals. Bucks probably should have beat the Panthers last week. The Bucks fall off also needs to be studied. Remember like week 7 when the Bucks and the Colts were like number 1 and number 2 in the power rankings? That was weird because now they're like number 20. But anyway, they should definitely beat the Dolphins. Zach will also take the Bucks, and so will Greg. Like the Bucks have everybody healthy. The Dolphins have a bunch of injuries, and Tua is not even playing. Eagles Bills is a good matchup. I'll take the Bills at home. Could really go either way. I just like the Bills more in this matchup. Maybe it'll even be snowing. Both teams are used to cold weather, so that's not going to play a factor. But still, Bills home field advantage. Um, the Eagles didn't look great against the Commanders, but neither did the Bills against the Browns. But I think that's more so of just game planning a week in advance. I think these two teams were game planning for each other, and who cares about the Browns or the Commanders, right? Because they're such bad teams, they can beat them without even taking them seriously. So I think that these two teams were thinking about playing each other 2 weeks ago. So they just kind of ignored the Commanders and Browns. Still, I think that it has potential to be a shootout, but in a shootout, I'd take the Bills. Um, I keep forgetting to change it to Zach, but Zach took the Eagles um, by 3, and then Greg took the Bills by 7. Should be a really good game. Sunday Night Football, Niners Bears. This is the game of the week, so thank God it's on Sunday Night Football. We finally have a good Sunday night game. Um, I'll take the Niners at home. Niners offense looked really dominant, like I said they would against the Colts. Because I'm telling you, when Brock Purdy's in and they have George Kittle and they have that whole offense healthy, we're like the best offense in the league, maybe only behind the Rams. So we're dangerous, and our defense is also pretty good. Not as good as I'd want it to be, but still. Bears defense is also really good. Bears offense with Ben Johnson can be creative, but I like the Niners offense 100% more than I like the Bears offense. Defense, I'll probably take the Bears defense. Matchup wise, Niners at home. I got Niners all day. Zach will take the Bears, and then Greg will take the Bears too, which is a little surprising because the Bears aren't even at home in this game. But I guess they're just relying on Ben Johnson to get it done again, which I could see, but I don't know. Niners at home, I like that. Finally, we have Monday night Rams Falcons. I'll take the Rams by 3. Could I see the Falcons winning it? Sure. Seems like the Rams have had trouble with NFC South teams this week, or I mean this year. So they definitely could lose this game, but I don't see it happening. But if you were to take an upset, this would be one I would consider taking just because the struggles the Rams have had with NFC South teams. But other than that, I mean, the Falcons defense good. Drake London will play, but I'm just going to trust the Rams. Zach will do the same, and so will Greg. So this video wasn't as long, but because